You are listening to the Lawyer Stories podcast with host Benny Gold. Lawyer Stories was founded in July 2017 on Instagram and is an expanding global network of lawyers and law students sharing their personal journeys to the noble profession of the practice of law. Join us on this podcast as we dig deeper into these stories and hear from lawyers and law students from around the world in all areas of the legal profession. Here at Lawyer Stories, we believe that every lawyer has a story. What's yours?
Welcome to the Lawyer Stories podcast with Benny Gold. Today we welcome in our friend, Natalia Sishodia, managing attorney at Sishodia PLLC, founded by Natalia in New York City, a boutique law firm practice dedicated to the areas of real estate law, estate planning, elder law, and business law. Welcome back, Natalia. Good to see you.
Thank you, Benny, and it's my pleasure to be here again.
Yeah, for sure. And before we get into your story and everything you have to share, I just want to give a shout out to our friends and business partner over at Lex Reception. They're going to give you more time. You can switch off your calls knowing that they're going to be covered by Lex Reception. From answering calls and messages in real time to appointment scheduling, your clients will receive the care and support they need with Lex. Their legal answering specialists are going to be on hand 24/7, so you'll never miss a call or a future case, with custom scripting and software that can seamlessly integrate with your current workflow. Lex will make sure every potential client gets fantastic service from the very first call. And all Lawyer Stories listeners, you're going to get $250 off your first month of service. So there's no better time to get started. We highly recommend. And simply use our link to go ahead or mention Lawyer Stories. Go sign up with Lex Reception. They do good work. We've had them on their podcast. Nice people. All right, Natalia, back to you. So thank you for coming on again. And you first appeared on the Lawyer Stories podcast back January 27th, 2022. It's been a little over 2 years. So you were episode 79 for those keeping track at home, and we just released episode 169. So it's glad to have you back. You're one of our New York people, one of our trusted and attorneys there, and let's chat. So I was hoping we could do a little recap of your story. We don't have to go through the whole thing, but I do want to start with, tell us where you're from and how you went from Tyumen, is that how you pronounce it? Tyumen State Institute of World Economics, Management and Law for 5 years, a master's degree in jurisprudence. You went to the USA for Temple University, LLM, and then Fordham School of Business for an LLM. So tell us a little bit about that journey of education, starting back in Russia.
So my journey as a future attorney started in Russia when I entered the university. It's a Tyumen State University of World Economics, Management and Law, 5-year program. And the degree there is called specialist. And the equivalent of the specialist is something between the bachelor and the master in US.
Okay.
And it was my dream to become an attorney from the early childhood. So it was a very exciting thing to be there. Then I was coming on student exchange program several years in a row, where the program that I traveled on to United States called Work and Travel USA, where I would come during the summer and work in US in the service industry. And at the same time, I could improve my English here. So during those trips, I got very enthusiastic about US legal system,
Oh
and
yeah.
I developed an idea to come to United States to study law here. And as I completed my studies in Russia, in Tumen, I came to United States and pursued a law degree here. Again, it didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
I definitely had some challenges before I got an acceptance into the US law school. But so in between, I also did my internship at United Nations for 6 months. And finally, I got accepted into the US law school. It was Temple University, Beasley
Wow.
School of Law in Philadelphia, where I studied for 1 year, and those studies provided me with an opportunity to take a bar exam in New York.
Okay. What piqued your interest about the law? Like, why back in Russia were you like, I'm going to be an attorney?
I think growing up during the collapse of the USSR, I was about 6.5. In 2000, I mean, not in 2000, in 1991, when USSR collapsed.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So it was a time of violence and, no law and order
Yeah.
for some time. And I really want to do something to help people at that time in my country. And I wanted to have that power to bring improvement in the legal system in Russia. But again, those were childhood dreams.
Sure, sure. Did you?
and
Oh, go ahead.
and the reality is, like, when I was in the high school, I realized that the legal system and political system was corrupted. And when I learned about US law and how the law is above the person here in US, that is a time that, got me really fascinated about US legal system, and I wanted to actually pursue my legal career here in US.
Did you know anybody in the U.S. when you came here?
No,
Wow.
I didn't know anyone.
Wow. That's amazing. That's good for you. So tell us about like the challenges that you took after your schooling. You know, like you're in the US, maybe you didn't know anybody, you're done with you finished law school, you're done with the business degree. Did you have any challenges, like any like language barrier? Probably not, because you're passing all these classes and stuff. But what was like a big challenge you had like after schooling?
So, yeah, like after schooling, there was no language barrier anymore.
Right.
I had a little of language barrier during my law school because of the amount of the material and reading, that you have to do during the law school. So I would say it would take 10 times more effort for me to digest the material, preparing for my classes than a regular native speaker. But after the school, so I graduated from the law school in Philadelphia, and I came back to New York. So being a graduate from out of state law school was a challenge on its own, because when you look for your first job in New York, most of the law firms, they would like to see a New York law school.
Sure.
Maybe even Ivy League law school.
Yeah. Well, Manhattan, of course, it's known as very, very competitive.
And Manhattan is very competitive because, it's a big apple, and people coming from different parts of the world here.
That's right.
So,
Including yourself. I mean, well, I mean, you got
correct.
educated, like, obviously in the US, but
Correct. So, applying to my first job was the biggest challenge. I sent 100 letters
yep.
to different law firms in New York. They were all real estate law firms, or firms that had real estate law practice, like the
Okay.
largest firms, they had real estate law practice. And I received 27 replies. And all of those replies were that, unfortunately, they have nothing to offer.
Okay.
I mean, now when I look at that situation, is some of my clients are partners of those law firms.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
it's life is very interesting. Like, there was no place for me to work at those firms to learn my skill as a real estate attorney. So I had to learn it on my own. And now I'm able actually to serve the partners of those law firms.
It's amazing. Like, I'm just curious, like, what was it about the New York City real estate that sort of got you going? Like, what did you love so much about it that you wanted to pursue that career?
Even growing up, I always liked, I was fascinated about design and architecture.
Okay.
However, I didn't pursue that career because in Russia, in order to go into college to become an architect, you need to finish 5 years of art school as a prerequisite. And I never went to art school, so that was out of question. But the love for design and architecture and drawings was always there. So I kind of combined my passion, my love for the design and architecture with the desire to help people.
Yep.
And during the law school, I realized that all real estate related classes were my favorite, like property class, contract class, and trust and estate class were my favorite classes. So I had no doubts that I would really enjoy practicing
Yeah.
areas of law.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of real estate. I always found real estate like super interesting, and in Manhattan of all places. I mean, like people share like walls, and there's just like co-ops, and there's apartments, and there's condos, and there's not like the standalone houses really where the closings are probably different, and it's so complex. So you got to give Natalia a lot of credit for doing something like real estate in Manhattan and being very successful at it. So congratulations on growing your practice and being a very successful real estate attorney there in New York. So you do have your own YouTube page now that I think I found, right? Is that something that you have? So
yes, this is something I started, and I actually would like to develop it. And
yeah,
the main goal of this channel is to share the knowledge, with law students who are interested about real estate, to share my knowledge that I collected over the years with the real estate agents to help them better serve clients in New York, and also to share my experience as a real estate attorney with other attorneys who may want to make a move from other law practices, because I find it really fascinating to practice real estate law, because I call it a happy law.
okay.
Most of the time you deal with happy people. It's not like being a trial or litigation attorney when there are a lot of problems.
Right. So you're saying happy people, right?
Most of the time, in most of the cases,
Okay.
because you either represent sellers that sell their place, they move to the bigger place, or real estate investors. You help them to build their wealth through real estate investment. So they're very happy and grateful.
Yep.
Or you represent buyers, could be first-time home buyers, or who are buying their first place. They may be nervous, but at the same time, they're very excited
Sure.
about buying their first home. Or you may represent investors again, or somebody who is buying second home, right? So you have that opportunity to touch on people's life. And real estate is something that touches everyone's life.
Yeah. Okay.
Either it's a rent when you work on the lease, because everyone has to live somewhere, right? So it's
Right.
either rental property, and as a real estate attorney, I can work on the lease to either protect landlords or tenants' rights, or it could be first-time home purchase, right? For someone who, it's American dream to have your home, right?
Yeah.
My firm also handles some bank transactions as a settlement agent. So again, if you buy and you're a first-time home buyer, you will need financing from the lender. Again, this is where I am able to step in and touch your life as a real estate attorney. Or as your wealth grows, you have some savings aside, you may want to invest in your second home, or even investment property.
Right.
Again, I'm the key person here to help you grow your investment portfolio. So that's why I find this field really rewarding, even for me as a real estate attorney, because I'm able to contribute to my clients' growth.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, I like that. It's a great explanation. So, what makes New York City real estate different than anywhere else in the world, would you say?
So New York is very attractive place, especially for the foreign investments, right? Because even during the time of the crisis, yes, the prices go down. Maybe there are some losses, but it always goes up.
Right.
And New York is considered to be one of the most desired places in the world to invest.
Yep.
And also, one of the hottest areas for the foreign investment. So again, if we go back to my YouTube channel, is my agenda is to share my knowledge and to share some practical tips that I collected during the years of my experience, to share with other real estate professionals, with other attorneys who want to consider moving into the real estate, because my belief is that real estate can create an opportunity for everyone as an attorney to balance life and work, to create flexible schedule, be able to balance between the family life, hobbies, and at the same time build thriving practice for yourself and feel as an accomplished professional.
Speaking of an accomplished professional, what would you say your definition of success is?
So my definition of success is not measured by the amount of money you make or amount of clients you retain or close business. My definition of the success is the freedom you actually have. How free you are to use this money you have to give a better quality of the life for your family and for yourself. So that's a definition of my success, because if you make all the money,
Freedom. I love it. Yeah.
but you don't have freedom to do what you like, and I don't think you can call yourself a successful person.
Yep. That makes a lot of sense. I like that a lot. What does it mean to be like a resilient person? We're going to get into some things later, like in a little while, about some stuff that you dealt with, like on your way up to success. But like, what does it mean to be resilient? Would you say?
Being resilient is if you have challenges in life, right? Not closing up and not giving up and not moving out of your path, but rather face the challenges, learn from your experience, and go through it and come out strong with the knowledge that you gained.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, what advice can you give to somebody who's struggling on their path to become successful? Whether it's a law student struggling in school or a young attorney who just doesn't know if it's the type of law that they want to practice, they're in their first job. What advice would you give somebody?
So I would, number one is not to give up. And number two is move one small step at a time. Because what happens is most of us, we want overnight success, right? We see the series like Suits, right? We see successful lawyers. The projection of the successful lawyer, somebody wearing an expensive suit, retaining
The Armani suit.
High volume clients, and so that's a projection we get from the reality shows. But the real attorney life, it's a lot of hustling, and before you start wearing that expensive suit, there is a lot of hours that you put learning the law, the particular field that you're practicing, working on the cases, getting experience working with different clients. So in my vision of the success and my definition of the success, it's a combination of small victories and so it's a combination of small victories and major challenges and failures.
Okay.
Because even challenges give you some experience that you can bring on to do better.
Agreed. Do you have any advice for somebody who has a small family and they're trying to work and that sort of thing? Like how can you manage both of those?
Again, I just suggest to move one step at a time.
One step at a time.
Like one small victory at a time, and never compare yourself with others. Like if you have a family, it's challenging to practice law when you have a family, and especially as a woman, right? Like biologically, it just you are missing from action, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes some of the attorneys, female attorneys, have to make a choice, right? Either to be with your family or to develop your business. Again, I believe that you don't have to make a choice. You can do it all, but you need to take time to enjoy each. Like when you have a child, you need to slow down,
right,
and enjoy your motherhood.
Mm-hmm.
And just practice, like don't run after your profession. Just slow down your practice a little bit and just move one step at a time, one small victory at a time. Like don't get intimidated that some other firm is doing better than you. Your only competition is you yesterday. Like if you want to compare yourself
Like
to
that.
someone, compare yourself to you like 5 years ago.
5 years ago. I
Or
like
like a year ago.
How about you, like 2 years ago, the first time you were on the Lawyer Stories podcast? No, I'm just kidding. Um,
I definitely grew, and more like in
awesome.
a spiritual way.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. What advice would you have for somebody wanting to go into real estate?
Real estate, for someone who wants to go into real estate. So number one is, for sure, I would suggest to get some hand-on experience. If you are right out of the law school, I would suggest to get hands-on experience practicing real estate. If you are already practicing attorney and you're coming from different field,
Mm-hmm.
I suggest you to get a mentor.
Mentor, yeah, totally.
Who you can go to and get mentorship on real estate transactions, because what I faced hiring attorneys, right, coming from different industry, there is a crown on the head. And
Right.
at times we think that if we are coming from litigation, we already know everything and real estate should be easy. In reality, it's completely different field of law, right? And to become a real pro, you need to go through many closings. Like I probably went through thousands of closings.
Wow.
Over 2 years of practicing real
That's
estate.
amazing. So you saw a lot of different stuff going on with the closings and like different situations that might happen. And
so that experience actually helps you to be very proactive on the spot when there is a problem, because as real estate attorneys, we are problem solvers. Like it could be at the closing table, it could be during the process of purchase or sale. And just an experience helps to navigate through those problems.
Yeah.
Because you already saw something like this and you have a full confidence that particular approach can help your client to reach desired conclusion.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to think on your feet. Even though you might not be in front of a judge, you have to think on your feet in the closing room. If like there's sort of an issue with something or something comes up with the other attorney, you have to still know how to argue and maneuver your way through that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it
So
takes.
yes, my advice would be to get a mentor and actually approach it as you don't know anything, and just be open to learn from start the new area of law. And if you do that like for a year, you should get a hold of real estate transaction and be able to start doing something independently. And of course, I would encourage to start your own law firm.
Really? Okay.
After some, after a year of experience, if you're coming from the different area of law, I would encourage to start your own law firm. Take that responsibility, learn how to bring your own clients. It's exciting process.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So you would encourage it. Don't keep working for somebody. Start your own firm.
Yes, because when you start your own firm, you build up your equity, right? And it's possible. You shouldn't be scared to generate clients. You can definitely do that.
Do you have a lot of repeat clients?
Not really, because real estate is something, there are people who buy one time.
Yep.
lifetime. Of course, clients that want to buy second home,
Right.
they want to upgrade when as their family grow. For example, they get a child or they get a
Right.
second child. I had situations when my client had 2 children. They got twins on the third delivery, and each time they would have their family grow, they would want to upgrade to get extra room.
Right. Right.
So as your clients' families grow, they normally want to upgrade.
Yeah. Makes
And
sense.
this is how you get repeated clients. But there are clients that come only once and you never see them again.
Right.
Again, the key here is to provide exceptional service. Like what I'm really proud of, our firm organically comes first on a Google page.
Oh, nice.
When you do the search for the real estate attorney in New York.
Really?
And we don't pay anything to Google.
Really?
Not a penny. Yes.
Okay.
So we come to the first page of Google organically because of the reviews that our clients leave to our firm.
That's amazing, Natalia.
So
Congratulations.
another advice would be just send a general email to each client that you have with the request to leave a review. That would be helpful for future clients to make a decision about legal representation.
Okay.
And of course, if you provide exceptional service, your clients should be happy to leave you the review, right? So that
Of course, yeah.
your business to be pushed to the first page.
Of course. So it wasn't always like a lot of us, we have some struggles as we go through and you become successful and there's things that, throughout your career, everybody kind of, well, most people get dealt with like a curveball that they have to deal with. And, some things are worse than others, but what are some of the things, like, for instance, we already talked about sending out 100 letters to law firms, right? Not receiving 27 responses and no jobs available. But you obviously found a job. You got through it. Like, you found a job. Maybe it was a smaller firm. Maybe it was something like you didn't really, but it worked out, right? You ended up being your own boss now. So what other things, like earlier in your career? I mean, we're lawyer stories here, right? So we want to talk about inspirations, motivations, some setbacks, challenges. I think we discussed before, the bar exam, multiple, issues on the TOEFL exam. I'm guessing that's like some sort of like a language exam. And then, is there anything else that you want to discuss when it comes to challenges that you had that maybe like other people could relate to?
Yes, sure. And the new addition to my story that we didn't touch on during our first episode is my suspension from the law practice.
Yep.
And I would say that was probably the hardest challenge to overcome through. And I would like to share this experience. So if somebody else is in such position, they can learn from my experience and it may help them to, stay on their feet, help them not to lose the faith that there is life after suspension, help them not to lose faith that they may still able to practice if they do the right thing and follow all the laws. And also just maybe help them to look at the brighter side. Maybe they put in this position to do something good for themselves or for their family.
Okay. Yeah, no, definitely. And I don't know if you want to go any, detailed more into that. It's not, I know we discussed it. It's not as sort of like a wrong place, wrong time type of thing. I don't think it's anything egregious. It's just sort of something that happened by way of like where you were and the firm you were at the time. Um, so if you want, we could go on to discussing about rebuilding a law practice from scratch after a hiatus.
I think I just wanted to maybe quickly touch on the reason for suspension.
Yeah, of course.
Again, I know this is something attorneys don't like to talk
Yeah.
about. If somebody goes through suspension, they shy away from the topic. They want to forget this experience. Attorneys who never been suspended, they scared of the word discipline, and sometimes that could be a scare tactic and tactic through negotiation, people threatening with the disciplinary action, and this is just something lawyers don't talk about. And I just want to be like 100% honest here. I have no problem talking about it. It happened years ago. I overcame this experience, and I just think maybe my experience can be helpful for someone either not to make the same mistakes and avoid discipline, especially for young attorneys, to not to have trust, blind trust, and be more careful
Yep.
in making such decisions. And also for those who found themselves in such situation, maybe to take it easy, take it with a grace and dignity, just serve the term of suspension, do the right thing, and be able to get reinstated.
Yeah.
So the reason for my suspension was that I managed the law practice for my mentor, who was then suspended for 3 months. So I agreed to manage the law practice, and during that practice, even though I handled the client files and handled work of the paralegals that worked for the firm, my mentor and owner of the firm that I worked for was still micromanaging the practice and talking to the employers at the firm. So my misconduct was that I didn't push back when it happened, and I didn't insist on my mentor to do the right thing. And also when I was questioned, the biggest violation that I did is that the biggest ethical violation, when I was questioned by disciplinary committee about the situation and about my mentor's involvement in the firm, I did not disclose the extent of his involvement. So I was dishonest in my responses, which at that time I was thinking was the right thing to do to save my mentor, but later I realized that it's not the right way to do.
You were
So
probably shocked by the whole thing, though, right? I mean, like, it probably caught you were
yes.
like you were probably like kind of surprised that like you were being asked and targeted these questions. I mean, did this guy even feel like shit? Like, excuse my language. Like, did he feel terrible about this or no?
um I'm sure he felt bad about
Yeah.
this whole situation.
I mean, if it's like so, like if you think about the parent, like the power in the situation. I mean, like you're gonna if a mentor who you're talking about him as a mentor, right? And he's telling you to like, and if he's still like, it's his firm, right? He's still saying stuff. Hey, I'm doing this. You're his mentee. Like, are you really? I mean, as an attorney, and like, you probably know the right thing to do is be like, hey, do it 3 months, 90 days, back off. But there's sort of like a power dynamic there. You know what I mean? Where maybe you felt like you couldn't.
Yes, but you should understand, Benny, that attorneys are judged by very high standards.
Yeah, of course.
So we are honored to practice law, and we should follow, rules and regulations that are set up for our profession. So we are looked at by much higher standards here. So, and again, there is no justification to my conduct here. I am happy that when it happened to me, I didn't go in a child position or in the position of the victim. And I can't really blame my mentor for what happened, because he didn't force me to do that. It was my own conduct or misconduct. And that was the wrong decision that I made. So the only person I can blame here was myself, right? Or maybe not being mature enough at that situation. So the decision to get suspended and accept the proposal of the disciplinary committee to get suspended was based on me taking the responsibility for my own actions, without blaming anyone for what happened. And I went through the suspension period and was able to actually get reinstated by just following all the procedures required by the disciplinary committee and rules of professional responsibility. So again, what I would like to, the piece of advice I would like to give to especially foreign attorneys who do not understand the the importance of professional responsibility in US, because maybe there is no such emphasis on professional responsibility in other countries, right? Like it's in US. I would just like to stress it out that it's very important. I would say being a responsible professional, following professional responsibility rules is even more important than to have an experience in your field. Because as attorneys, we often come across ethical questions, right? Where we need to decide what to do. And you should always do what is right, even if it's a difficult decision, even if it's gonna put you in a weaker position, or even if you may face some deprivations, like if there is a risk for your license to get suspended, you should still do the right thing and what is ethical.
Do the right thing. Yeah. What did you do during the time?
So I actually, it was very hard. It was very hard. Because I went through all kind of different emotions during the suspension, from the feeling of being a failure, professionally and personally. I felt a lot of shame for myself. I felt ashamed in front of my family.
Sure.
I thought that I didn't really, they believed in me and I failed. I thought they would never be proud of me again. I had a lot of fear that I may never be able to practice again, and I may never be able to retain a client because people wouldn't trust me because of the discipline and the record. So I was going through all the spectrum of the emotions, and at some point, I guess as I went through it, I realized that I should detach myself from this situation of the suspension. That actually, past doesn't define you as a person.
Right.
At any given point, like what is important is the present. And your future is going to depend on the decisions you make right now and small decisions you make from now and on, right? So I just shifted the focus from the negative part of the suspension on the positive side, like what can I do with all this time if I'm pushed out of practice, right? And while practicing law, I was a workaholic. I spent a lot of time at work without spending time with my family, spend minimum time with my family. So what I did, number one, I started spending more time with my family. And especially I had a small child. We did a lot of fun activities.
Awesome.
We played games. I had the home theater.
Right, nice.
Really on colors, numbers, you name it.
Love coloring, I mean.
Yes, we did a lot of art projects with my daughters. And just because of this experience and because I was able to spend a lot of time with my daughter and being really interactive and being able to educate her, I was the person who introduced her this world, right? She was able to get accepted into the best public school in New York City.
Wow.
Hunter Elementary. There was an article in one of the newspapers that it's harder to get into the kindergarten in that school, public school. It's harder to get into kindergarten of that public school than into Harvard University.
Whoa.
Because the acceptance rate is between 1% and 2%.
That's crazy. Congratulations.
So again, there is something good that came out of my time off from law practice, and that was one of the things. Another thing is I was really planning to go into the tax program for a long time, but since I was actively practicing and, you know, being a mom, I really didn't have time to do that. So during my suspension, I actually took time and I applied for the tax program. Again, my ideal tax program was LLM, but because I had a record of suspension, all the doors to the law schools were closed for me.
Really? Okay.
Even though I received a lot of compassion from the admission committee in different law schools, but they would say, oh, come back when you are done with your suspension.
Okay.
Come back when
I
you
see. I see.
And
so it was only during that time, like the time period of the actual suspension, that they were sort of like
yes. Again, what I realized, when you suspended, you become an outcast.
Yeah.
Especially like legal community, nobody wants to deal with you. It doesn't matter what you did. If you were really bad or little bad, or your conduct doesn't matter. Just that label suspension makes you an outcast. So you're not welcome anywhere. A lot of doors close automatically. So the tax program in the law school was out of way, but I didn't want to waste my time. I didn't want to wait for 2 years to do the program later. I wanted to use the time I had, all the free time I had in my life, to get better, to educate myself. So I decided to enroll into the tax program in a business school.
Wow.
It was another challenge.
That's right. Wow, that's incredible. You got your Fordham?
Yes. So I got accepted to the Master in Taxation program at Fordham University. And I actually even got lucky to take a class in Fordham Law School as well, as part of my Master in Taxation program.
Masters in Tax. Let's just listen to that for a second. Masters of Taxation. That's unbelievable. I mean, I took one tax class in law school, and it was like it's enough. So that's great. I mean, I say that with huge kind of congratulations to you for doing that, to pushing forward, especially during that time.
Yes, but to be honest, it was another challenge because when you choose to be an attorney, your brain is set for like law and cases, right?
Right.
The business school is completely different from law school.
Okay.
Like what you learn in law school, we learn everything at law. When we in the law school, we learn through cases and
Mhm.
Socratic method. Like
Right.
you get questions from your professor and you answer.
Yep.
In the business school, it's all numbers. There is no cases. So even the tax classes that I took, they're more like there were a lot of calculation. There were a lot of financial subjects like financial accounting, managerial accounting, regular accounting, and even in a trust and estate class, we did a lot of calculation. Like there were formulas. Like the whole semester, we were just
That's brutal.
doing the calculation of like gift tax and estate tax.
Oof.
So for me, I didn't enjoy that part, to be
No,
honest.
I mean, has it helped you at all in your career?
Yes. It definitely helped me because right after I graduated from Fordham University,
Yep.
with a degree and with the knowledge. Degree is not so important because I already had enough degrees. And when I was reinstated and when I restarted my practice, I was able to actually add on another practice, and that was an estate planning.
Okay. Now, yeah, I wanted to ask you, like, we talk a lot about real estate, but like, are you still pretty involved with estate planning?
I am involved with the estate
Okay.
planning as well. And again, the decision to add up estate planning was because it's still related to real estate.
Okay.
And my clients, my real estate clients who buy real estate, they need to have estate planning done, right?
Right.
They
Yeah.
can pass their real estate to the loved ones after their death through the estate planning.
Right.
Since estate planning is really close to real estate practice, I thought it to be, and plus with a degree in taxation and understanding, the tax implications for my clients, I thought it was right decision to add up that practice of law.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's great. And you don't do just simple wills. I mean, you'll do big estates too, right?
Yes. So we do probate as well,
Oh,
probate and administration, and we do estate planning with trusts and
okay.
complex structures. Especially, it becomes really handy when we deal with foreign clients,
Okay.
because as a foreign investors, comparing like to regular domestic purchasers, they have a lot of exposures, and especially tax exposure. And this is where my tax knowledge is actually very handy as well.
Yeah, I bet. That was another question I had, like how much tax do you have to know for, estate planning and that sort of thing. I know I think it's a lot,
Yes, yes, because
especially if you go above and beyond just, a simple will. It really gets complicated.
correct. What actually make me stand out in my field is that there are a lot of real estate attorneys in New York.
Yep.
But there are not too many real estate attorneys who have tax expertise and who have professional tax degree and knowledge in taxes, together with the real estate experience. So, for example, when I take on the client purchaser, right? I don't just look at the deal as a real estate deal. I also look at the complete tax situation, like what is exposure for this client when client decides to sell, especially when it comes to foreign investors, right?
Right.
It's very important to structure transaction and purchase, right? To begin with,
Yeah.
have an exposure to huge amount of taxes later
Right.
to sell. So that's why estate planning and asset protection is really important, especially when we deal with foreign investors in New York.
Wow. It's, New York just is a whole different thing to me. I loved it. I was in the city. I got there 3 times this past summer. And it's just, I don't know. I mean, I've been going there all my life, but it's a whole different beast. So, congratulations on all your success, and moving past some of those things that might not have been ideal in your career. I think it's a lot of inspiration for other people who might be going through the same or who might be facing the same. Um, did you want to say anything else about um, ethics or suspension or real estate law or estate planning, tax expertise?
Again, like maybe in conclusion, I just would like to say that again, past doesn't define who you are.
Yeah.
Your action starting today, right? And you can take any small steps. Like, don't get overwhelmed. Don't worry about future. Don't worry about past. Enjoy your presence. Enjoy the present moment. The journey itself is more joyful than the destination where you go. And also, regardless of the situation you are in, even the negative situation can bring something good in your life. Just like try to see why, like what good you can do.
Yeah.
What good takeaway you can take from the situation. What can you learn, right, to pass to your children from your story. So again, looking back, I realized that it was a huge mistake and I regret such decisions, but they were made at that time. And that's going to be a good story for my kids, that I'm going to teach them to be always honest, because if you are not, it can bring a lot of suffering. And like, it's financial suffering, it's emotional suffering, and it's a big personal challenge. So in order to avoid it, it's always better to be honest. Like, the hard truth is better than the sweet lie. Doesn't matter how hard it is, you need to be honest.
Wow, I like that. That's a good one. I've
Yes.
never.
And also, I am actually, I am really grateful that I was able to overcome this situation, that helped me to build resilience, that helped me to get to the next level personally, like for my personal growth, right? Also helped me to get those takeaways for myself, and helped me to understand my values and how I want to practice and how I want to live my life. And also helped me to understand that, principles of integrity are important, and compliance with law is substantial part. Professional responsibility is a major part for practicing for our legal profession. And also we should really appreciate the honor we get as attorneys.
Yes.
We are sworn to practice law. We shouldn't be taking it for granted, right?
Right. That's right.
It's a real honor, and we should really, I think it's the right thing that we are judged at such a high standards.
Mhm.
And also I am very grateful to the legal community. I'm grateful to the judges that were looking over my case, to the attorney who handled the case, and in general to my friends and colleagues who gave me a second chance and welcomed me again into the legal community to be a part of it. And I'm also grateful to all of my contacts, colleagues, clients, and friends who supported me through my career and through the discipline. And when I came back, they still keep supporting me. They have this trust in me. They keep sending referrals. And of course, I do my best to keep the standards of the service. And again, I'm grateful to any experience that I had through my practice, including the suspension, because it made me learn things, and it just helped me to become a better person who I am right now, and a stronger person, more resilient, ready to fight for my clients' rights when they're in trouble, and ready for any kind of situation that I face in life.
Wow, that's awesome. I definitely hear it all there. Thanks for sharing all that with us, Natalia. That's really it's really nice. It's brave. It's open. It's vulnerable. And I definitely appreciate you sharing that with us on the Lawyer Stories podcast. And we're happy to have you as part of our community as well, the Lawyer Stories community. We hope you'll be one of the first inaugural community members for us. So thanks for being here and sharing everything today.
Thank you, Benny. I really admire what you do.
Thank you.
I really admire your idea of sharing, different attorney stories, and it's just amazing contribution to the legal community. And I'm really grateful that you have me here and you allow me to share my story.
Of course.
That could be different maybe from any other stories that people come to share to promote their businesses.
Yeah.
But I just thought that every story, like even if my story helps one person to become better, to make the right decision in life or in legal career, it's already worth it to share and to expose myself.
It is. That's exactly it. Yep.
And if my story helps someone to avoid the mistake that I did, it's, I think, even a bigger contribution to the legal community. I would love to see more ethical attorneys around, and I believe most of the attorneys are following all the rules of professional responsibility. And that's just like a common effort to build a great legal community in a way you can trust each other and you can do business together. So thank you again for
My
having
pleasure. No, thanks for being a friend. We appreciate you a lot. So if that's it, we'll conclude. Natalia, stay right there. Everybody else, thanks for tuning in wherever you are in the world today. Enjoy yourselves. Cheers.